Hello everybody. Today is Cyber Monday, which seems to be the perfect opportunity to talk about the Information Security Standard, ISO 27001, and the specific requirements around asset management. My name is Jodie Reed from Penarth Management Limited. We specialise in helping companies with their ISO management systems. We're also Mango approved partners, and we're increasingly finding that more and more of our clients are switching over to using Mango as an effective way of managing all of their ISO systems. And traditionally, we found that whilst companies may have started with quality, environmental, health and safety systems, having already got those systems in place is really useful to be able to tap into the same piece of software rather than paying out separately for something else. So let's take a look at the theme of the day. So Cyber Monday is all about buying more stuff that you may not even have known you needed. But everybody's trying to save some money, buy the bargains, and maybe get some extra stuff. New toys equal new assets. And in the language of ISO 27001, when we take a look at the control objectives and associated controls, asset management comes up in section A.8. Today we're just going to focus around the requirements associated with responsibility for assets in A.8.1, where the overriding objective is to identify organisational assets and define appropriate protection responsibilities. So what does the standard require? Well, section A.8.1.1 deals with inventory of assets, and it requires that information, other assets associated with information and information processing facilities shall be identified, and an inventory of these assets shall be drawn up and maintained. Well, we found a really nice way of doing that within Mango. So if we switch now to take a look at the software module, that's not necessarily one that you would necessarily think of straight away, because it works really well for measuring all of the tools and equipment that you would traditionally think of from a health and safety perspective. But it works equally well for information security too. Now, let's say that as part of Cyber Monday, we've just bought a new tablet, a training tablet. I've already loaded a couple in here, so I'm just going to call this training tablet number 3, give it any old serial number. So here we go. We're going to say where we bought it from, which makes it easy for us to go back and buy more. Who are we going to issue that to? We might give it to our administrator here. We bought it today, it's Cyber Monday. So we have all the details about it. We'll give it a price. We'll give it a category, because that means it can be found in various search criteria when we come to write a report. And we'll log it against the training department as well. And we'll come back to some other bits and pieces afterwards. So now when we take a look at our plant and equipment register, if we take a look at tablets, we've managed to buy 3 today. Actually, I'm going to give that one a unique name. Call it Training Tablet 3 so that it doesn't get muddled up. Okay, so we've now got 3 tablets in the system. They've all been categorised as such, which is great. That means now they'll come up on this report, and I'll show you how I've built this report. So this one is for information assets, and if I go to edit mode, I can show you how this has been built up. Essentially, I've used the report writer to select the criteria that I think of as being important for identifying our information assets. In this case, I've gone with the name, asset and serial numbers, description, plant and equipment category, so this will show up, remember we've just looked, there's 3 tablets in the system, and we've got who it's issued to. Don't need any changes, so I'm just going to run my report. And normally I wouldn't even have needed to go through the edit. I just wanted to show you how easy it was to make changes and how to structure it. Now in here, this is run a full list of all the information assets that we've already populated within the system. Now you can click on any of these headings to change the way in which the data appears. So here I've now resequenced it so that plant and equipment is alphabetical. Or if I change it here by who it's been issued to, we've got a different list there. And it's really nice. We can export that to Excel if we want to, so we can continue to manipulate the data. So it shows you how easy it is to satisfy the that clause or the requirement A.8.1.1 to do with inventory of assets and how to manage that. Okay, so next up we've got A.8.1.2 deals with ownership of assets. Assets maintained in the inventory shall be owned. We can see that all of these items have already been assigned an owner, and that was without having to think too hard about it. We just did it naturally as part of the initial setup, so that's working really, really well. So next up is acceptable use of assets. So the control required here is that rules for the acceptable use of information and of assets associated with information and information processing facilities shall be identified, documented, and implemented. In terms of how we can do that with Mango, I'm going to go back into Manage Plant and Equipment here. And we'll search on our tablets. And I happen to know I set something up with this one earlier, so we've even managed to include an image of this particular one, which we uploaded there. Now I'm just going to go into edit mode. And I'm going to just take that out and then show you how I've built that in. So I've pre-populated this with some acceptable use conditions, and I've said, because it's a training tablet, that this is only to be used to connect online for training as exam submissions, so it has no other purpose and isn't to be used for any other internet activities whatsoever. But if you've got additional documents, which you might have in the documents module, we could link through to those from here as well. So that's a really nice, easy way of including all of the acceptable use criteria, all sat at the point where you've got the information about the device. How nice and simple is that? Okay, the last part of this requirement is A.8.1.4, which deals with return of assets. And the control is that all employees and external party users shall return all of the organisational assets in their possession upon termination of their employment, contract, or agreement. So let's take a look at how we can manage that within Mango. We take a look at this, and we'll go back into our report writer. Here's one I prepared earlier. So here's all the equipment that's nominally been allocated to me within the organisation. And here it seems that I've got a mobile phone, a car, a laptop, a lone working device, and a training tablet. So if I were leaving, is a nice, easy way for perhaps the HR manager to run a simple report, and makes it very easy to remind people of what they should be returning on their last day. So that covers all of the requirements in section A.8.1. If you would like to know more, do feel free to log on to our website, book a demonstration,